What is up, folks, and welcome to the ATCW recap. I am your host, the golden tongue of ATCW, Evan Wade, and here to my right, as always, the Swiss Army knife, Dennis Williams. What's going on, Dennis?
Hey, how you doing, Evan?
Fantastic, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm doing awesome because ATCW Justice was an awesome evening. I had a great time. I'm talking like one of the most fun events that I've ever been to. I just had a great time all night long. We're going to fill you guys in, especially those of you that missed it. Those of you that did miss it, we missed you, and we'll see you the next time, but we'll talk about the next time later on. Let's get to this one, Evan.
Let's do it. ATCW Justice, coming to you live from the Leetown Community Center in Kearneysville, West Virginia on June 15th. Lot went down that night.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk first about our brand new segment that started just about 15 minutes before bell time, starring Dennis Williams. That's right. The Swiss Army knife had the opportunity to interview one of the many stars in the ATCW locker room for your first time ever in the arena. He got to interview the second generation sensation, Brian Hardy. Dennis, tell the folks about that one, man.
It's a new segment I'm going to be doing every event. A few minutes before the event starts, I'm going to hop up there in the ring to my classy blues music that I chose to have play. And I'm going to interview somebody, so that way you guys have a little more insight to what's going on that evening. Maybe it'll help you enjoy it more. And it might be nice to hear from some of your favorites, and you might not like hearing from some of your non-favorites, but it could be overall, I think, very important. I think it went well. I was lucky that I had Brian Hardy as my first because he's very talented, and he made it very easy for me. Might be more difficult with those going forward. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. It was a fantastic segment. I really enjoyed it. And I thought you did a fantastic job. After that, after Brian Hardy finished up his interview, he went to the back. And then, Dennis, it was time for our first contest between LA Star and the debuting Austin Blackthorn. Now, Dennis, singles debut here for Austin Blackthorn, thought he was a fantastic competitor to go up against LA Star. He had a great showing. He was a great striker. Those forearms that he was throwing were insanely intense. And the impressive speed that Austin Blackthorn possessed in this matchup was just awe-inspiring.
Yes, it was. But let's not cut LA Star short here. He put on a great display as well. I was, of course, hoping that he would win, and he did. All he had to do was just go out there and beat LA. That's all it took. And he was able to pick up the win over Austin Blackthorn, not our only debutee. We had a couple others throughout the night. But for this one in particular, I thought this was a decent way to start the show with a debut and one of the favorites, because every time you hear that music pop, you pop. So I popped for it as well. And I think overall, all of you guys enjoyed this opening contest that we had at Justice.
I definitely did, Dennis. LA Star was able to deliver some very heavy strikes there toward the end of the match and then set up for what was one of the biggest boots that Austin Blackthorn has ever seen come so close to his face. LA Star victorious with the 1-2-3 over Austin Blackthorn in your opening contest. Now, Dennis, our second matchup of the night, a huge tag team rematch for the ATCW Tag Team Championships. Muddy Waters and Josh Austin, the Nation of Violence, putting up their championships against Richie Blanco and Rob Blade of the Stompers. A rematch from February, and one that we were anticipating ever since it was announced on Facebook on the ATCW page. Dennis, what did you think about this one?
Loved it. I was really looking forward to this one because I felt Stompers would be able to regroup and come up with a strategy that would work. And they did.
Yeah.
And it was great because we've got our tag team championships back, and I'm so thrilled about that. Now, with new champs, rankings reset, and we need some tag teams, guys, because the Nation of Violence chased them all off, except for the Radical Stars and the Stompers. So tag teams out there, hit up our bookers and promoters and stuff. Come on out because I want to see some great competition for these tag team championships since they've been held with just this dominant iron grip since last year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This match was awesome, folks. The Stompers were off to a very quick start and had the Nation of Violence reeling after a couple of big moves from the Nation of Violence and some recalibration, they were able to gain control of the matchup for quite some time and deliver that beating that they had promised the Stompers. Incredible resiliency out of the Stompers, both, especially though Richie Blanco taking one heck of a beating from both of the members of the Nation of Violence. There was a point where Josh Austin may have had this match won for his team, but decided to lift the shoulder up of Richie Blanco, and I think, Dennis, that may have been what cost him this matchup.
That very well could have been, because I think they had the match at that point and kind of screwed them up for themselves.
Richie was able to capitalize on that show of maybe a little bit of overconfidence there from the Nation of Violence, able to tag in Rob Blade, and a couple moves later, man, the Nation of Violence has been knocked off the mountaintop of the tag team division here in ATCW. Congratulations, Rob Blade and Richie Blanco, on becoming the new ATCW Tag Team Champions.
Congratulations, fellas. You all did a great job. That last moment of the match there where you guys built up that momentum to get the win was one of the most incredible comebacks that I've ever seen in professional wrestling. Kudos to you fellas, and thank you very much.
Looking forward to seeing what you guys do here during your title reign in ATCW. Now, Dennis, let's go to the third matchup of the night. The other half of the Radical Stars, Willie Radical versus stunning Adam Armstrong. And an interesting start to this one, if you guys remember. Stunning Adam Armstrong requested that LA Star be banned from ringside during this match, which Dennis so eloquently put on commentary that he has every right to do because it is supposed to be a one-on-one contest.
All right, only licensed managers are allowed to be at ringside during a match.
Yep. I actually didn't know that, so thank you for filling us in on that.
That's what I'm for, man.
Yeah.
Remember all those old school rules, like, being on the top rope is illegal and stuff that I kept track of that nobody else keeps track of? Yeah, I got the rules down. I have to remind everybody once in a while.
Dennis, if you ever have a question about the rules of the match, ask Dennis, man. He's like a walking handbook when it comes to being a referee. It's great.
I used to have to yell them out sometimes during a contest.
Yeah.
Because, when you do a three-way dance, there's no disqualification, but nobody ever remembers that.
Right.
So, when the guy's choking and I can't do crap about it, I'm getting yelled at, hey, break that up! Break that up! I'm like, it's no DQ, man. It's legal. There's nothing I can do about it. I can try to talk him into doing the right thing, but...
Right. That doesn't really get you very far. No, they're going to do what they want to do in there.
It doesn't.
So to start off this matchup, Adam Armstrong with a quick assault on Willie Radical trying to gain the upper hand. Didn't even let him take his shirt off, by God.
Yeah, which was smart.
After a little bit of an exchange, Adam Armstrong was knocked to the outside and pretty much paraded around the arena, getting chops from just about anybody that was available. And Dennis, you got to cross off a big old bucket list item there, didn't you?
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. They were coming our way, so I was making sure I got one in there too. Always wanted to chop a wrestler because I've been chopped by a few, and it was a lot of fun. I thought this was a really fun part of the match, and this is a good indication of what the Radical Stars themselves are all about, having some fun. And yeah, it was a blast, but the fun didn't stop with that. It just kept rolling with this one.
It did. These two were definitely throwing some big haymakers.
This fly is about to get the smackdown.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, folks. There's a fly around here. If you see a swatting, that's what it is. Somehow he snuck his way into the ATCW studio, and we're trucking right along. Later on in the match, Adam Armstrong tries to pull the turnbuckle pad off of one of
off one of the turnbuckles.
Thank you, my good Lord. This fly has gotten us all kinds of crazy. Turns out that it was a distraction in order to get Owen Money to go over and pay attention to the turnbuckle pad, and a good old classic poke to the eye from Adam Armstrong to Willie Radical set him up for the double arm DDT and the 1-2-3 for Adam Armstrong over Willie Radical. Dennis, this means that Adam Armstrong has secured a victory over not one but both of the Radical Stars at this point.
And we've talked about how he struggled coming in. It took him a little while to pick up that first win, and now look where he's at. Now he's beaten both of the Radical Stars. It's amazing how things turn around in this business, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis, speaking of turning around in this business, man, this next contest just spun me like crazy. I didn't think, I'm sorry, folks. This matchup right here, our fourth matchup on the card, Axel Crow versus the debuting Kalen Patrick. And the reason I'm saying I got spun around like crazy is because the work that we did going into this matchup on Kalen Patrick showed a completely different person than what came through that curtain. Insane. The battle of perhaps the darkest souls to ever step foot in an ATCW ring. And boy, did these two deliver. Multiple different styles throughout this matchup. They were able to match each other on. They meshed incredibly well. And I thought Kalen Patrick was an absolute perfect match for Axel Crow in ATCW.
Yeah, he was. Very impressed with this guy. He had very good form that I really enjoyed. But there was something interesting about him when you compare him to Axel Crow. So they both have gone through some traumas in life. Axel Crow, of course, we've documented with his parents. Fly, I'm going to get you. But with Kalen Patrick, of course, you know, his history with his tag partners and the people that he's trying to befriend in this business that stabbed him in the back and has brought out this dark side in him. You know, a lot of us have dark sides. I know I have my own. I don't wear face paint and stuff, but I do have my own dark side. It's all about how you handle your dark side. With Axel Crow, he kind of tries to overcome it. And with Kalen Patrick, he kind of tries to use it. And that showed throughout this contest. And I think that's one of the things that made it the most interesting was these two different personalities of how they deal with that inner darkness.
Indeed, indeed. This match is up on YouTube now and Facebook. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. It was freaking awesome. So at one point in this match, I thought Kalen Patrick may have had Axel Crow dead to rights there in the middle of the ring, was going for the Muda lock. But unfortunately for Kalen Patrick, lost the foot of Axel Crow in the delivery, so he wasn't able to cinch it in entirely. It provided an opening for Axel Crow to deliver a couple punches, that wonderful tribute to Wyndham Rotunda, as we have stated before, and then finally Axel Crow ascending to the big top to deliver the final act on Kalen Patrick. And 1, 2, 3, the leader of the Carnival of Souls has another one to claim and take home with him.
I got nothing else on that one, man.
All right.
I mean, I thought what I just said was pretty effing genius, so I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to sound stupid now.
Sounds good to me, man. Match number 5 after a brief intermission in the night. The ATCW Cruiserweight Championship on the line. The
whole damn place. Jeez.
The brand new ATCW Cruiserweight Champion, Ethan Cross, defending against TCW's Robbie Wayne. And to absolutely nobody's surprise, Robbie Wayne tried to cheat his way to getting that championship back.
Yeah, he did his usual stuff throughout the match, though I think it was overall a little lighter this time around, probably because of what they had planned for the end. But I like this contest because this was another old school kind of mat contest. They stayed low, they wrestled low, and of course Ethan Cross adapting to it because he is just that chameleon of wrestling styles. Robbie Wayne was throwing off good offense when he was focused on doing that. And it was a really great contest. An awesome first defense for Ethan, but I have to say, poetic justice there at the end. You narrate that part of it for him.
Yeah, so there looked like, I'm sorry, not. Ethan Cross may have had this match won, but ATCW champion Lucius Wade came down and decided to slide a chair into the ring to Robbie Wayne and then distract referee Brandon Walker. Well, unfortunately for TCW and Lucius Wade and Robbie Wayne, that backfired a little bit because he got that chair drop kicked right back into his face by Ethan Cross. And then Ethan Cross delivered one of the most beautiful flying forearms you've ever seen in your life. Go check it out on the Facebook page. To Lucius Wade, knocking him off the apron and then securing the cover on Robbie Wayne. 1, 2, 3. Still your ATCW Cruiserweight Champion.
Well, that was weak.
Cruiserweight Champion. Better.
There we go. Yeah, whole name place trick.
Ethan Cross, man.
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed this contest, and it was great. However, the next contest was my match of the night spotlight, and man, did it deliver.
Yeah, so not only did Dennis call his shot on this one with his first ever match of the night spotlight on the previous episode of ATCW Live, my man over here hit a grand slam. This one Match of the Year candidate, hands down. Tomahawk defending his King of the 304 championship against the picture-perfect assassin, Chris Slade. Dennis, what did you think about this one, dude?
Off the charts.
Oh, man.
Match of the Year candidate. I mean, what other accolades could I throw at it that you weren't sitting there thinking those terms in your own mind while you were watching these two go at it? You know, the clash of styles and even the similarity. There's a little similarity there in styles. Just made for a beautiful contest that was intense. It was hard-hitting. It was just incredible because of the things that Chris Slade can do. And quite frankly, guys, Tomahawk is just on another freaking level, man. Think about this real quick. He has delivered 3 Match of the Year candidates consecutively. His last 3 matches, Match of the Year candidates. You know, that's a kind of hot streak that guys don't go on very often. And Tomahawk has truly ascended to the next level. Look out, world, because this guy's exploding, and you never know where he's going to pop up next.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Dennis. 2 superstars who have the utmost respect for each other in this business, pushing each other to the absolute limit.
Yeah.
Multiple heavy impact moves, a plethora of agility in both parties, strike for strike, slam for slam, an absolute banger, as you'd stated before. Yeah. At the end of the night, Tomahawk is still your King of the 304 champion.
Yeah, and it was just another notch on that belt. I mean, this guy's done it all here at ATCW, at least all that he can do. And he's just continuing to add that legacy in another way. And I'm glad that he's found this path, because it's almost a new path for him. You know, it's a new championship, and he's got to face some new challengers that he didn't before. And I thought it was just absolutely incredible. And I'm glad that I picked that as my match of the night.
Yeah, aren't we all?
I really am, because I look smart now.
Yeah.
You know, so. Yeah, this was great, guys, and I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on Tomahawk going forward here and how he performs, because I might write a book about it. You never know.
Well, folks, it's time to talk about your main event from ATCW Justice. The ATCW Heavyweight Championship on the line in the greatest rematch in ATCW history. For the ATCW Heavyweight Championship, Brian Hardy versus self-made Lucius Slade. Brian Hardy starting off hot in this one, Dennis, by charging Lucius Slade before I was even able to finish his introduction. I booked it, dude. I didn't want to be in that at all, because you saw in his promo and in your interview in the beginning how fired up and ready Brian Hardy was for a fight against Lucius Slade that night.
Yeah, when I was interviewing him in the ring, I could kind of feel the energy coming off of him, this controlled chaos that was about to explode. I did not think it was going to explode the way it did, though. I mean, you were in danger.
Yeah,
there for a minute.
Yeah,
you really were. You were in danger, but this match was just absolutely fantastic. One of those matches that we are proud to say was for our championship. I mean, it was that enjoyable. Another stunning performance from Lucius Slade. I mean, I don't like his affiliations, but I have to acknowledge the skill that this guy's getting. He is learning, and he's just soaking it up like a sponge and putting it out there on display. He's starting to rack out this lane. This reign is getting to the point where we're starting to be able to call it long now. And I'm wondering how much longer it's going to last, but we might have an indication of that.
We might.
But I don't want to talk all about this myself. What's your thoughts on it? Because you were really fired up. I mean, you were pounding on the table.
Yeah, I almost put my fist through that table, and I might have damaged a little bit of our equipment that was on the table. I'm sorry, Damien, if I actually did that or not. But, wow. This matchup, they just had each other, like, scouted on every single level, you know, submission for submission. You saw Lucius Slade lock in the money clip. Brian Hardy was able to escape that. You saw Brian Hardy lock in the sharpshooter, and just when you thought that it might be over for Lucius Slade, here comes TCW's Robbie Wayne to interfere and assault Brian Hardy, breaking up the match and causing a disqualification. And still, your ATCW heavyweight champion, TCW's Lucius Slade, because as we know, championships cannot change hands on a disqualification.
That's right.
Which, Dennis, brings us to what you were just alluding to there. Folks, on July 20th, ATCW presents Heat coming to you from the Carneysville Leetown Community Center.
That's what we should have called this show today, man.
Yeah.
It's getting hot outside.
Yeah, it is hot outside, man. It's crazy.
Anyway.
So, I put my fist through the table almost for the greatest ATCW rematch in history. We're about to get another one, folks. Brian Hardy versus Lucius Suede 3 for the ATCW Heavyweight Championship. But this time, folks, no disqualifications because it is a last man standing match. And this war that we've had between ATCW and TCW needs to end in a big way. And Chucky, man, you've done it. This is the way to do it. Hopefully, Brian Hardy can secure that ATCW Heavyweight Championship once more and bring it home.
Not only will there be no disqualifications, there will be no pinfalls or submissions either. For those of you unfamiliar with Last Man Standing, they get to do whatever the hell they want to each other, and whoever does not answer a 10 count is the loser of that match. So we could very well be in a situation where they're both down, and they're both getting counted out. One happens to get up before the other one. That's Last Man Standing. That's what we're looking for. These types of matches are usually reserved for something big like what we're experiencing with this right now, and I think this is a good possible cap for it. I hope it doesn't go against us, but
yeah, that would
either way, this should produce an awesome contest for ATCW Heat.
Oh yeah, that's right, folks. July 20th, ATCW Heat coming to you live from the Leetown Community Center in Carneysville, West Virginia. Bell time 7 o'clock. Doors at 6:30. Dennis interview at 6:45. You're not going to want to miss it, folks. We'll be back in a couple weeks with ATCW Live. Until then, if you can't get enough of us, we got plenty of episodes on YouTube and Facebook, and check out the matches that are being posted from ATCW Justice. They are phenomenal. Thank you, Damien, for putting it all together for us. Thank you, Rob, for being on music and doing such a great job, especially with Footloose. He booked it. He booked it out of the arena when he played Footloose this time around, and Adam Armstrong was just bouncing back and forth trying to figure out how to turn it off, and he just couldn't. Oh, man. ATCW events have just become priceless.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm telling you, if you miss it, you're going to be sad when you see it, all the videos on YouTube, and you wish you would have seen yourself sitting there in that crowd having a blast just like we have. But nonetheless, we will be back shortly with an ATCW Live episode all about ATCW Heat. Good night, folks.
Yeah.